All right, everyone, welcome to Hannity. And tonight, buckle up for what is a big week. Straight ahead, more breaking news from the Durham report. And now even MSDNC's chief liberal, Chucky Todd, he is now calling on the FBI to be held accountable. Kind of laughable in one sense. Also, new developments surrounding Hunter Biden's poverty claims. Also, breaking news from John Solomon tonight about Hunter and the IRS. And with less than 2 years to go until the 2024 election, Democrats are once again shockingly playing the race card. This time, they're trying to vilify the entire Sunshine State of Florida. But first tonight, all eyes are on the Biden White House, where Joe is still refusing to come to terms on a debt ceiling that is, well, pretty imminent. According to Democrats, the sky is falling, the American economy and the world's economy is about to collapse, and it's all Kevin McCarthy's fault, when in fact it's anything but Kevin McCarthy's fault. So why didn't Democrats care so deeply about this issue over 100 days ago, when Speaker McCarthy was all but begging the White House, weekly, monthly, day after day, to sit down and negotiate this? Take a look.
We have to negotiate over the debt. Our whole government is designed to have compromise. The Republicans control the House, Democrats have a small majority in the Senate, and he's the president. He is playing with the financial markets of America by saying he wouldn't negotiate. That's why I said to the president, let's be rational, let's be reasonable, and let's sit down and negotiate. When we were together at the prayer breakfast, he says we're going to sit down the next day, told the entire Congress that we're going to meet. At the Democratic retreat, he told the Democrats that we were planning meetings. He's never had one meeting. It's been more than 2 months. Time is ticking. He needs to show leadership and come to the negotiating table instead of put us in default.
Now, week after week, month after month, the White House has been stonewalling Kevin McCarthy. They completely ignored him over and over and over and over again, and they refused to answer the phone. And according to Democrats, there would be no negotiations. It was our way or the highway. Take a look.
We will not be doing any negotiation over the debt ceiling.
Look, the president's position is simple. Congress needs to take action to prevent default without hostage taking.
In the meantime, we need to take the threat of default off the table.
We are not going to negotiate over the debt limit.
It's going to be difficult for President Biden to negotiate with somebody who has those type of legislative terrorists on their team.
It was their way or the highway. Here's the timeline. Now, the facts are absolutely on Kevin McCarthy's time. And by the way, these are facts that the abusively biased, corrupt media mob will never give you. Now, 4 months ago, on January 13th, the White House press secretary proudly announced there would be no negotiations, as you just heard. On January 20th, Speaker McCarthy reached out in earnest to begin these talks. Well, they refused over and over and over again. In April, McCarthy delivered a dire message warning that the default was near. Well, that warning also fell on deaf ears. And then on April the 20th, with no other option, the House Republicans, they did their job and they passed the Limit, Save, Grow Act, which raised the debt ceiling and cut spending in a responsible way simply by returning to 2022 spending levels. That's hardly draconian, and capping growth, future growth, to only 1%. And the CBO scored that bill at a very respectable and very responsible $4.8 trillion in savings. Now, of course, this came as a shock to most Democrats. They didn't believe that the Republicans could ever come together. They were betting McCarthy would fail. They bet wrong. Take a look.
He will not even say what he wants to cut, and I'll tell you why. He can't pass a plan with cuts. His hard right will demand the kind of deepest cuts that his more mainstream Republicans won't vote for.
And meanwhile, Schumer never passed any plan, and he was sadly mistaken. Now, a short time after Republicans passed the budget bill, the president then, well, begrudgingly reached out to McCarthy, but he still refused to negotiate. Joe Biden was missing in action a whopping 97 straight days, steadfastly refusing to negotiate. In public, the White House was vilifying Republicans, calling them wackos, extreme MAGA Republicans, their favorite term. Karine Jean-Pierre suggesting that the GOP's budget bill would cause climate change, destroy the planet, and, quote, quite literally melt bones. whatever that means. Now, with just 9 days to go until the Democrats' self-imposed default deadline of June the 1st, well, Biden is now finally conducting last-minute negotiations. Let us be clear. We're not going to default. That's a scare tactic of the left. Look at foxbusiness.com. The U.S. government is collecting more than enough revenue to cover its debt and Social Security and Medicare and other important programs like defense. There is no invisible line on June 1st where the country, quote, automatically defaults and becomes insolvent. Democrats have been and continue to play politics. This has been an optics game now for the White House all along, a way to grandstand, to fundraise, to vilify Republicans. McCarthy tried to hammer out a deal months ago and avoid the drama like a responsible adult in Washington and actually lead and keep promises at the same time. Democrats, they don't care about good governance. Well, the federal government has now become more dysfunctional than ever under that guy, Joe Biden. And now yet another sideshow, the Biden default crisis, of course, which is what this will be. Biden, well, he could have supported the House budget. He still can right now. Avoid a default. That won't happen. The far-left bureaucrats calling the shots at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue will never sign a bill that's going to cut the budget. That's not going to happen, especially one that eliminates the 87,000 new IRS agents that we don't need. We need agents at the border, but not at the IRS. The Democrats, they're excited about it. So now yet another week, another festering crisis, all at the hands of Biden. The border crisis, the inflation crisis, the energy crisis, all of it caused by Joe Biden and his radical policies. And the radical left wing of his party now, they are running the Washington swamp. So let's be clear. The Republicans did their job. They raised the debt ceiling. They did it responsibly. Joe Biden bet that they wouldn't get that done. Joe Biden did nothing. If there is a default, this will be Joe Biden's default.